Good morning, Boondock Patrol here. Just wanting to do a review on a gem of a rifle. This thing, in my opinion, is definitely a great bang for your buck. My brother and I set out here a couple of years ago to find a rifle for large game that would fill all our needs and fall within, the American family man's budget. And we wanted a full-floated barrel. We wanted an Accutrigger, something that was light, so when we're out hunting, it's not going to be weighing us down too bad. This thing came with a Weaver scope, 3 to 9 power, and after taking it to the range, that's all that I care about. I'm not going to go spend, $500 or something on a better scope. This has done everything I needed to, and like I said, after taking it to the range, I'm not going to change a thing with this rifle. I shot .66 MOA, so definitely sub MOA at 100 yards. And this thing has worked out great. I took my elk last year, 2016, with it, and the thing took 2 steps and dropped. It's tried, in my opinion, and I love it. I've tested it. I love it. So to give you a little bit of story on sighting this thing in, I took the Hornady American Whitetail, Federal 130 grain, Winchester 130 grain, Remington Core Locked 150 grain, and Perfecta 270 Winchester 130 grain soft point. So I had 4, I believe it was 130 grain and the 150 grain, and I wanted to try them out and see what ammo this rifle liked the best. And after my experience taking it to the range, you can tell none of these ammos that I chose are going to be, your Nosler, your HSM, Browning BCR. These are your Norma. None of these are $50 box ammo. I read some good reviews, and my brother had followed up on more ammo than I had and said, hey, let's try these out. We're finding good reviews on different sites for different firearms, and we read that the Savage Axis operated well with the Federal Power Shok at 130 grain. So we said, all right, let's give that one specifically a try out. But I personally wanted the Hornady American Whitetail to win, and we took these 5 ammos that we were able to pick up at Walmart, and took them to the range, and the Federal Power Shok smoked the other ones. So it smoked them. So that has been my ammo of choice now for this thing, and it worked. It dropped my elk. So 130 grain. Anyway, so at the range, this is what ended up happening. I sighted this in. I did a 200-yard zero, and so I'm 2 inches high, and my target was placed at 100 yards, and the conditions were gusty, 85 degrees. So Savage sent this to me in the box when I purchased the rifle. I think I got it for $290 on like a Black Friday deal or an end of the year deal, and I didn't see this target in there until after I took it shooting. I probably wouldn't have taken it shooting anyway, because when I'm sighting in my scope, I like a splatter target. So anyways, so I ended up doing this review because I looked and was reading in my July 2017 edition of American Hunter, and I ran into an article that I really enjoyed. It is the Learn Your Maximum Point Blank Range, and this is by Ron Spomer, and he gives it the acronym, and might have already had the acronym of MPBR, Maximum Point Blank Range. And that is exactly the reason why I purchased this rifle, because it would be what my brother and I always called it, flat shooting, or MPBR, where you're not adjusting your scope for large game out to 300, 400 yards for elk or moose. I don't have to adjust my scope. So to tell you a little bit about the ballistics of the Federal in this thing and the MPBR, with I zeroed my rifle in at 200 yards. So at 100 yards, if I'm shooting right at the vitals that I've whited out here on this picture of this deer, I would be 2 inches high. If I shot center mass like I used to, or like I like to, I'd be 2 inches high. This vital kill shot, let's say, is about 10 to 12 inches is what people usually say on a deer. At 200 yards, I'd be half an inch high. At 300 yards, I'd be 6.2 inches low, right at the bottom of my vitals. Still a kill shot, but I would probably adjust a little bit higher, maybe an inch higher than I usually like to shoot at 300 yards. 400 yards, I'd be 18 inches low. So I would just aim about 18 inches high, and I would be right in my vitals. And then 500 yards, I'd be 36 inches low, so I'd need to aim quite a bit higher. But on an elk or a moose, the vitals are much bigger, and it would be much easier to adjust for large game out to about 400 yards, just without moving anything on your scope. And so the MPBR, that's what I love about this, is large game, bear, pronghorn, deer, elk, moose. I just pretty much aim and shoot, and I'm going to hit within my vitals. From 0 to 300 yards, and with a little bit of adjustment at like 350, 400 yards, I would still be right there, but I don't have to really do anything with my scope, and that's what I wanted. I just wanted to go out, point and shoot, and get a kill. And so thank you, Savage, thank you, Federal, for providing a great gun, $290, and shooting .66 MOA. It's a great rifle. I personally, with my shaking and things, I don't think I'll ever get much better than .66 MOA. But you can do it if you're out there in the market for a budget firearm. This thing will do it. This thing will do it, and it will do it well. It's a great tool, and Boondock Patrol definitely loves this rifle.